Hi, everyone. It's here again to talk. Uh, One thing I think just want to say that I think I've been wearing this thing sometimes and just want to show it to you. I don't know if maybe it looks like something else, maybe it looks like some kind of a symbol or something, but it's really nothing. It was just, when I was in Korea, I went to some kind of like ancient village that was near the main city, Seoul, and just walking around in this place, and I saw these crafts and stuff, and took some Korean money and I bought this thing. I just thought it looked nice, but it really doesn't have any meaning or anything. But I know I've been wearing it sometimes in my videos, and maybe somebody was curious about it. But anyway, yeah, so here we are continuing on with this current situation. And I can't really tell you anything new about it because I'm still just pretty much confused, just kind of going day by day, and probably won't really have a true assessment to really honestly see what it is until maybe like a long time afterward. We kind of have to just sort of see how things play out, but yeah, but I wanted, again, like there's certain things that I've talked about before. I know I mentioned a lot about like the reality and how I kind of see this duality of like these ideas or whatever, these ideologies and things. Maybe I should have used the word dichotomy. That's probably a more accurate word, but you could say duality too. But yeah, it's kind of like, and I want to I focus mainly on the United States, but I think that this, we have this big international community, a big global community. So, what goes on in the United States is completely connected to all the things going on in the the modern world. Like I guess I think I've mentioned like the Matrix before, like these people that are in this civilized modern information age society. We're all kind of connected to this. But United States, of course you've got you got this thing. I guess you got Trump. I guess and I guess there's like kind of like these different camps. And I would more consider them more like religions. So it's kind of like the one religion or camp is the I love Trump. Trump is just, I just love him. He's my hero. Everything is great, and he does so he'll forgive if he does anything wrong. And look, he's a human being. I mean, I don't, and I'm not even really gonna, what can I say about him? I mean, I know he's got this personality. He's got this harsh, kind of gruff way of saying things, but actually in a way, I mean, he kind of says things that sort of need to be said. He's honest and stuff. So, he says something like fake news, but then, it insults people. But then again, it actually, there is a lot of fake news. I mean, I think even people who are kind of like more intellectual and, people that even might be considered more liberal minded have probably said that. They've probably said that there are like, conspiracies and things that are done that are wrong, that are reported in the news, and there are agendas by political agendas and economic agendas and things that are wrong, that are crooked and dirty. But so here's Trump kind of saying something like drain the swamp, whatever. So yeah, I guess there really is a swamp. There are these swamp creatures that are in power and things. But then what is he? Is he going to replace them with like great, wonderful people with integrity? I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, there's that camp, the Trump camp, the I love Trump. And then of course there's the I hate Trump camp, so those are the people that no matter what, he's the villain, he's terrible. And the solution to the world is going to be, somebody other than him, whatever, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, what the hell? Joe Biden, I don't even want to say anything about that, but yeah, you got that, and you got those camps. You have, and I guess along with the dichotomy, you have pandemic pandemic. That's another like two parts of the dichotomy of this belief system. But I guess I'm kind of like stepping away from all that, and I just sort of look at things, and I guess I'm just trying to be independent. And of course, like when I see this dichotomy, these things, I guess I really think of like in terms of like divide and conquer, because it's kind of like there are those who are powerful, whatever they are, like these forces. If they're, I again think I've suggested that I don't know if they're even human or anything. That's a whole other issue to talk about like the human race and what's going on here. I know there are people that talk a lot about visits from extraterrestrials and aliens and things, and it is possible, it is possible that this has been happening, and that there is actually some kind of communication going on with even like the people that we see, our officials or whatever, these powerful people that we know. That could be even some kind of communication going on with extraterrestrial life. But then again, it could be completely because I guess I see the universe is very huge. So I mean, there is a chance that some life form could have come here and interacted with us, but maybe not. The universe is so huge. So but yeah, I mean, we have our we have our understanding, our senses, our five senses that we have to detect the universe, the world around us, and we have our sense of the dimensions that we know, but like there have been some theorists or scientists who have talked about multiple dimensions. They've talked about, I think, up to like 26 dimensions. But can we really perceive those dimensions? I don't think the average person can. And and again, I talk about the five senses. Well, that's what human beings are. I guess a lot of animals are capable of using the five senses to see what's going on in the world around you. But there could be, there could be other senses. There could be other ways of perceiving things, perceiving reality that we may not be aware of. So maybe there could be some kind of extraterrestrial, some other kind of species that's around, that's able to, use different senses, and see things another way. And maybe they are existing here amongst us, but we don't know about it. Anyway, so much about that. So I'm here. I'm kind of looking at that, and I'm just sort of just trying to look at what's going on and looking at this, COVID-19 emergency that we're dealing with, and it's very troubling, and you're really kind of like in a catch-22. I mean, as far as like the ordinary people, because I mean, here you have the threat of getting sick from this deadly thing that they say is there. And of course, some people say that it's overblown, that it's not really there. But then, so of course you have to like take all the precautions, meaning that you have to quarantine, stay home, and keep things shut down. But then, of course, we live, the whole world is, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's a capitalist system that we have, this internet, this global economy where everything is kind of connected to that, to this economic system that we're all dependent on, and the ordinary people, they'll probably get hurt. I mean, they don't have power, they don't have anything. So, when things are shut down, people aren't able to work, and then businesses go down, and somebody at the bottom of the food chain is probably going to get hurt, and that's unfortunate. But it really is. Yeah, we're in this really tough. I mean, that's very common. We're always, the ordinary people always tend to be in the catch-22s. But anyway, so I've been on this channel. I think, like I've said, that this channel, I think I kind of, like I've done a lot of covers on this channel, cover music of different artists and things. And I mean, I'm always hopeful that these covers are kind of meaningful in some way. I mean, I guess I've talked about like the music industry, that the people that are, that I'm covering are people that have had some level of success, and I don't know really what that universe is like. I've never lived in that, but some have suggested that there's kind of like a gate that you go through to get there and things. But despite all that, I think the people that are doing this, there is some artistic element to it. So I always try to look at the songs, and I try to hope that there is something meaningful to human beings in these songs, something that can touch the spirit and move you. So, and I'm trying, it's a little bit of the theme of what I'm doing. It's sort of like how I've tried to touch into different genres and things, because I'm just trying to like get a feel around the whole world, the whole universe around me. That's sort of why I'm doing that. Even if I don't really do it well, but it's something that I'm just trying to do. It's kind of connected to the channel. Because again, like my channel, I just kind of came into this channel and because I had a life before, and I met people, I knew people, but I've done some like social media things, whatever. I don't really care that much about these things, Facebook or whatnot. It just doesn't mean anything to me. But there's just like a bunch of people that I knew that that they're in this Facebook thing, and I think I made an account, whatever. But I don't really participate in it. So anyway, so I did this YouTube channel. I was just kind of inspired again, and I think I had mentioned it was like this stranger that I met, and I would, I had this, I kind of categorized that person as sort of like a hippie. I thought, like that, like from when I met the person, there was the conversation, I think, cannabis and police state and all these different concepts that sounds like hippie type stuff, just talking about all these ideas and things, and I got the notion. But I think of like the word hippie, and I think hippie actually kind of came like from Europe, like maybe I don't even know, maybe it was the 19th century or something, but like in the United States, of course, hippie was very common in the 1960s. I think Malcolm X said that a hippie would be a white person who would be more Negro than a Negro, but the word hip, it kind of comes from kind of an African American expression that I believe it was kind of associated with jazz. Maybe it was maybe the early 1900s United States. It was kind of it was kind of like being cool and kind of in the know. But other than African Americans, like I guess the white people kind of adopted the idea, and you had like a little, maybe in the 50s you had hipsters. Maybe I think they called them beatniks and things. But now today, like hippie, and then there was a thing in the 60s, but like I think that whole movement was kind of pushed down in a way, like I think like there people felt like jeopardized by that, people in power, whatever. It's like it was kind of like it was a whole concept and an idea that I guess they felt like that there was some danger in it, so it had to be suppressed. And then, and I guess take the hip and you move it like forward to more like current times, and I guess you have like hip hop, which is, which I suppose it relates to the, I guess it's kind of like a thing from the inner city, the ghetto, whatever, kind of like this kind of street thing that's kind of cool. And of course, they're the hip hop artists that have kind of become like superstars and stuff, and maybe, I don't know if they're still in contact with that kind of street level thing, and then you actually have hipsters today, I guess like this kind of millennial generation of like these kind of white people, white young millennials that gentrify certain areas, and I think they borrow a lot of old ideas and stuff, maybe from the 70s, 60s, 50s, whatever, and I guess they think they're kind of cool, but I don't know, there's something kind of pretentious about it. But the main thing was that, like I had met this individual who I had sort of considered a hippie, and it was significant because a hippie is a good concept. I think of a hippie, envisioning like a world that's like a kind of utopian, like idealistic world, and there was the thought of like voting for a third party candidate in the United States, which is basically, I mean, I kind of knew in the back of my mind, I knew that it was like not really, I think Ross Perot, he ran, I think the highest he got was like 5%. So I don't really know, if a third party candidate, I guess we kind of have this oligarchy control, like these powerful people, that powerful forces, whatever, that kind of control the country and kind of control the world in a way. And so it would be hard to find this idealized leader that's going to come and rise up and basically make a better society that would serve the working people, So that was kind of yeah. And again, like another part, I guess, is about hippie is I think of hippie as being anti-war, So yeah, like, I mean, being anti-war, I mean, I think that's something that an ordinary person should be able to understand that idea, because it's kind of like, when you're being ravaged by war, I mean, it could be I mean, a lot, like the United States is a very powerful, has a very powerful military, whatever. And so I mean, there are countries around the world, other, societies that are hit by that military force, and what's going on, the whole story behind why these military actions are occurring around the world, that's a whole other story. But the fact of the matter is that people, there is suffering. Ordinary people suffer from that. But now, with the situation we have now, with this so-called pandemic or whatever it is almost like people in the United States are facing war. It is like a war. There's a lot of suffering. There's I mean, people are getting hurt. Their health physically, they're being actually people are dying, people die, and there's economic damage. That's another consequence of war. So yeah, somebody who's a hippie, and again, like hippies, there's really no I think hippie was something from the 60s. Now maybe the people who were hippies then, I guess maybe they kind of sold out, I mean, maybe they were like baby boomers, whatever, and they don't really kind of understand, maybe. And maybe they're the kind of people, maybe they watch MSNBC or Fox News today, and maybe they believe that, fighting out these, this, going for Trump or Biden is going to solve the problems in the United States. But nah, it's troubling, when I think about all that. But yeah, so I think I've said a lot of things, and kind of scattered all over the place maybe, but I had like an idea of what I was trying to say. I mean, there is a theme to this channel. There's something that I'm trying to bring across, and hopefully I'll get there. Little by little, I'll get there. Hopefully it'll start to have some meaning to somebody, at least. Anyway, I'm going to check out for now.